Hello, welcome to Calls with your Kinky Bestie. I'm Emma. I am a submissive and mentor for fellow kinksters. This podcast is all about insights into kinky life and dating, sharing my personal experience and stories, and help share mindset shifts too to get you into a confident space, more confident than you are now. So get ready. It all starts now.
Oh, bestie. It's about time we had this chat. And let me just tell you some of the challenges I've run into trying to record this episode so you know it's legit and important enough for me to fight through all of this. Okay, so remember a few weeks ago when I recorded a video podcast and was like, oh my God, this is, so cool. And I thought this is going to be the new way. And everyone seemed to really like it. So I've been trying to figure out how to make that my norm. But, just moving around large video files sucks. And recording good quality video files and recording, audio at the same time sucks. And I literally have a DSLR camera, like a nice, get a good photo of you camera that I don't know how to use very well, but I have it. So I thought I could record videos on that, but even that has like a file size limit on what it will record on the SD card at a time at a certain like quality. So I fucking bought online and the battery runs out too. So I bought this kit online that turns your camera into a webcam so I can like plug it into my laptop and basically use it like a webcam, and it even is able to convert the camera battery so that it can just be like charged at a normal outlet. So there's like a constant power stream, which is crazy. And so I thought, oh my God, I have all this stuff. It's going to be great. I downloaded the webcam software, but now I can't figure out how to record a video from it. And I'm so frustrated. And on top of that, it's just been the weirdest sound day. Like, there's been all this lawn mowing happening outside, and every time I think it's done, my neighbor starts back up again, and then another neighbor's mowing their lawn, and then my upstairs neighbor's fire alarm went off. And even though I've turned my heater, like, in my home off, because sometimes the heater sound is too much, like, it just kicked back on again. And there's a slight heating vent sound, and I'm so sorry, guys. Besties, I'm trying. And also, if anyone has tech shit and can help me figure this out, that would be great. But maybe this is just a sign from the universe that, like, I'm not meant to be doing video podcasts. Just keep it simple with my audios. We'll see anyways. Okay, I know I really led you on with a sneaky little title there. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the real reason that you don't feel kinky enough. And this is something that when I started this podcast and my business, did not even have this topic on my radar at all. But I've my hand has kind of been forced here. It's just kind of happened. Because one of the most commonly asked questions that I get, like my DMs, my emails, are kind of hounded with this one more than actual questions about, kinky lifestyle and self-development and stuff. As I'm constantly being asked by kinky people, basically, coming to me and asking like, hey, am I even qualified to work with you? Like, I'm interested in what you have to offer, but I don't know if I'm subby enough. I don't know if I'm at the right part of my kink journey. I've only experienced this and not this other thing. Or like, am I, just like all this stuff. And it's been really, eye-opening and a little heartbreaking, but also I get it, because I've also felt a lot of these same feelings that are being expressed to me. And, I'm not immune to this either. Just because I do work in this kink space and I'm a mentor to other kinksters, I sometimes get these feelings too of like, wow, am I really, kinky enough to be holding the space that I'm holding and having the desires that I have. So this is not, no one is immune, I don't think. But this is a thing, this feeling of, yeah, I don't feel kinky enough for two different reasons. And I've noticed that there's two ways that this kind of plays out. The more common path that I see a lot is a lot of kinksters who, when confronted with these, emotions or just subconscious feelings or whatever, think that they need to play it small to feel like they fit the title of what it is they're wanting to do or have. So, and maybe you can relate to this. You probably can if you're listening to this episode. Some different ways that this can play out are like kind of secret keeping some of your kink desires, even within the kink community or with certain partners. Like you're kind of hiding and keeping some things to yourself, and instead you're only like really holding the titles and claiming the kinks of the things that you feel confident having like really experienced for a while. And also this feeling a little bit of like maybe you don't belong in the kink community because because you have these desires, and so yeah, you're just kind of holding the title of like, yeah, what it is that you're ready to do or have, but like you have this hidden underlayer of the stuff that you want to be doing. So it's kind of this almost like I'm too kinky / but not kinky enough to really have this thing. Like I'm not really ready for this next level. So instead I'm going to keep myself at this lower one that I feel really comfortable with. So that's one way that this not kinky enough feeling can go. And then this other direction, I call this kink poster syndrome, is where you kind of swing the opposite direction, where you almost play too big with it. And maybe you talk a big game and you've done a lot of research on kink, but you don't always have that experience to back it up, and you don't feel like really ready for that experience. Or sometimes when you meet people that are like, operating at this level that you say or acting like you want to be at, you'll feel like, an inferiority imposter thing going on. When you're actually around people that are doing the thing that you say that you want to do, and then you get in that room and you find yourself feeling like, oh my gosh, no, I don't belong in this room because all these people have done more than me or know more than me or just have a different attitude than me. And just questioning like, does this even, like, am I even a fit here? Am I really capable of doing what I think I want to be doing? So along that vein of, the kink poster syndrome of feeling more confident talking about certain kinks than actually experiencing them, you also might be scared to authentically like share your learning and share what you're really going through, because you've let on that you have all this experience in all these other ways, so you feel like you're maybe like letting someone down or changing someone's self-image of you by sharing that, like, you're actually in this more novice phase of this other kink in your life, or just a different dimension of it. So, and that's something I run into a lot with my mentee clients. I have a few mentees who just really want to be playing at this level and have all these really big desires, but because they haven't been able to actually do a lot of those things or do those things sustainably, like they've gotten to experience little tastes here and there that are like feeding this like real desire for it, but because it's not like a more sustainable part of their life, they feel a little bit of kink poster syndrome about that, or like a little bit of not kinky enough to, actually have those desires because you're not experiencing them. So it's a tough spot to be in, especially because, it can sometimes mean you're not really willing to get support for those same reasons of like, it's a big thing to be vulnerable about when you want to be seen at this certain level, but maybe, you're not quite there yet. Or, even that you think you should know everything and maybe you think it's embarrassing that you don't, or that, you know more about things than you've actually gotten to experience or, have tried. And the part of this that can get a little scary and that I think you have to be really careful about, and it's more than just, emotional work, is that it's easy when you are in this swinging the big way vein of kink posture syndrome, because it's easy to get yourself into situations because, you've talked this big game and you say you have these things that you want to do. But then when you get into that room and you don't actually like have that experience and haven't, fully communicated the experience that you do have, maybe you just don't have that practice setting those boundaries, and things can get a little scary. Like, maybe you overstep boundaries that you don't know that you have because you're, leading on that you know some things, even though, maybe knowledge-wise you do know those things, but because you haven't tried them, like the experience is just a little different than what you expect. And things can get a little scary. And, I think I've swung both of these directions throughout my kink journey. When I was first starting, I really swung big, and then swung the other way to like playing small and kind of playing down my kinks to fit in a little bit more. And, I'm finally in this homeostasis good spot with it, which I really want for everybody. But yeah, does this sound like you? Which side do you resonate with? Are you like me where you've done a little bit of each? Or like, I'd also just be, I'm always so curious how people put this in their own words and their own experience. And, either way, it's really okay that you're in this space and you are kinky enough, and it makes sense. It makes sense that you're in the situation you're in with the experiences that you've had. But you don't have to live there because you are kinky enough. And what I've really been able to boil all this down to, it's really, really simple. And I think there's a really simple solution here and a recurring cause of all this. So we'll take a little pause, we'll come back and we'll talk about it. All right. Hey bestie, if this is sounding amazing to you and you're so fucking ready for 2024 to be the year where you get support and do the work to live and have your dream kinky life and make real for yourself all those desires that you've had in the back of your mind for years but haven't quite gotten to have sustainably yet, go to the link in the show notes and sign up before December 31st to get in on this live version of my course, Design Your Aligned Kinky Dream Life. I'll see you inside, and we'll get back to the episode now. Okay, we're back, and we're talking about this feeling of not feeling kinky enough, either feeling like you have to downplay your kinks to fit in, or to really, hold that title of the experience that you've had, even though maybe you have had a little bit more experience and have more desires than you're leading on, but you don't want to be perceived as showing off or as, out of your depths. So you play a little smaller than you really are. Maybe you're a little too comfortable in that space. Or this other direction of, swinging way too big and knowing a lot more than you've tried and, talking this big game, but, at the core of that, and the real, like, the issue and the tension and the, I guess, complication comes in not when you're talking a lot about the desires that you have, even though you haven't gone and tried them. The issue is when you are not super transparent about all the experiences that you've had, because you want to be perceived a certain way. Like it's more of protecting your external image and how you're presenting yourself, like perception management for other people. And yeah, it can be a little scary. You can get yourself into some reckless situations when you don't always have the experience to back it up and you don't know your boundaries yet. And also, yeah, it can just be hard to get that support when you want to hold this persona of this, very experienced, knows what you're doing person. It can be then hard to, accept and really seek out support when you have this underlying feeling that you shouldn't need it, which isn't true because we could all use support. Oh my God, I even have mentors. Of course I do as a mentor. But here's what I think this all comes down to. And this is really the key and the big part of it all. It's this desire that you have that has not been able to be fulfilled or not been able to be fulfilled sustainably. So on the small side, this could be that you have these desires for more kinks than you currently practice and feel, and talk a lot about. But because you haven't actually gotten to experience those kinks and do those things and talk about it yet, you feel, there's some sort of feeling of unworthiness, not kinky enough going on. And then on the other end of the spectrum, the kink posture side, where you really talk about and freely express all your desires, but you haven't been able to experience all of them or experience them consistently. It's this feeling of, wow, I'm not actually kinky enough because I have these things I want to do and haven't done them yet. So that's really where the deep-seated, it's almost like this internal self-conflict happens. And this is a really real thing. And it's also a very vulnerable position to be in when you have all these big wants for yourself and these fantasies and things that you want to experience. So you have this desire in your heart and these things that you want to do. But when that's really continuing to go unmet, and these wants are just living in your head and not something you actually get to experience yet, and you feel like you're not ready, or there's something you have to do first to get there. It's a really vulnerable place to be because you have this desire and you continue to not get it. And so I'm sure there's different terms that we all use to explain this to ourselves. But the biggest thing that I want to, you to take away from this episode and from your kinky journey is that your desires deserve fulfillment, period. You're kinky enough. You're the right level of kinky for you, because I think your desires are divine guidance, and your desires are just your body telling you that you will, have this craving for something. And I think your desires deserve fulfillment. So, of course, that all comes under the caveat of where it's, consensual for others, and also, safe for you and not self-harm. Because that's a different thing. That's not really a desire for this thing. That's, just something else going on entirely. But your kinky desires, they're yours and they're unique and they're enough. And I want you to get to experience those things. So if this is you, what do? Consider, because I think at the core, either way, you're going to need some help. You're going to need to be around the presence of people who are doing the thing, who are doing the thing too and pushing you on it a little bit. Because certainly you can figure it out by yourself. It just takes a really long time. especially when you're having these fights with yourself that you don't even necessarily know what you're fighting for or what's going on, or you just don't even, you don't have that outside perspective to really realize what's happening. So I consider the ways that you work best to like fulfill goals and get support. So if you have this, oh, I'm not the right kind of kinky feeling, and you're really stuck in that feeling of like shame and really not ready for, an external person to like see you one-on-one and chat with you about it. Maybe you're a bit more private and reflective, or maybe you even just like to, understand, like you're more of a do-it-yourself person and you want to understand, step by step, everything broken down into like a system or something that you can follow. Courses would definitely be your speed to go. I have a course. It's available for pre-sale now, but it doesn't launch, like it doesn't actually start until January. So you do have to buy it first to be in this round, which is going to be a live round. It's called Design Your Aligned Kinky Dream Life. And I'm going to take you through like my whole manifestation process from like realizing desires to like choosing which desires to focus on and then making them a part of my life all the time. So I'll show you that whole process in more of a step-by-step format that's self-paced. So it's still going to be, when I say live, it's still a recorded course, but you'll have a certain, like you'll have a week time period from when the course launches to like actually give me some feedback and some things that you're working on anonymously, so that then for the next module that comes out of the course, I'm able to like address all of those things going on and like just give more information. And, I really want to, because the course has some of my mentees that I worked with, currently and previously. So this is really, all kind of custom for the first group that's going through this course. That's the big part with this live version. So the deadline to sign up is December 31st, 2023, and then the course actually starts in January. But if you're more of a breaking down the system type person and you're within this time frame, go do that. I've got the link in the bio, in the show notes, and I'm going to give, a lot more information in my next podcast episode too. But okay, so if you do not work best in that way and you're more of like you have a hard time kind of piecing things together for yourself and applying them to your own life, one-on-one might be the better fit for you. It's like working with a mentor directly, and that's something I offer. It's one-on-one mentorship, or if you need that accountability of like a real person talking to you, and if you are someone who's able to like, you want in the moment kind of quick shifts that are again like totally individualized to your situation, so you don't have to really piece those pieces together for yourself, that would be the next step. So I'll also have the link for that in my show notes of the one-on-one mentorship. And there's no shame. It's just one-on-one with me, and I'm a very chill and open and kinky as fuck person. But also, I get that there's layers and levels to this. So that's part of the reason I've come out with this course, so that you're able to work through some of those initial like real like shame or just like getting you your kinky stuff now. So that then whenever like the more nuanced pieces come in, or you're like really hitting this crazy roadblock, that like, you can bring me in, we'll have a little one-on-one call when you're feeling ready for it. And that's always open to you too. So okay, I will see you in the next episode. The next episode actually comes out on Christmas Day. But I'm going to be breaking down all the modules of the course, so you'll know what to expect with it. So I'll see you then. I'll stop chatting now, and I'll see you in the next episode, bestie. All right, bye.
Thank you so much for joining me this episode. You can follow the podcast on the platform where you're listening to get updates with new episodes. You can follow me on social media at Kinky Bestie. I'm on Instagram. You can also check the show notes for any links or resources that I talked about in this episode, or just more ways to connect with me. And please share this with your kinky friends who could benefit from this type of content. There is also an option for each podcast episode to engage with Q&As or polls. So I'd love to hear from you and create future episodes around what you want to chime in with. So please check those out in the show notes too. And I look forward to hearing from you. Bye.